Great. Hi, and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today, we're going to learn more about our program in outdoor and sustainability education. And I'm here with Emilia and Yasin, and I will let you introduce yourselves properly in a minute. I'm just going to go through a few things before we start. As always, this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on our website. If you're watching the recording, you can actually ask questions. You do this in the questions section, which obviously you can do if you're watching this live with us. But even afterwards, if you're watching the recording, you can still ask questions, and those questions will be forwarded to us. The questions in the questions box, there's also a chat function. Do use that one to say hello to each other, where you're from. Who knows? You might end up connecting with somebody who you end up studying here with later on. I think that's the main kind of housekeeping things from the beginning. I think we're going to move on to actually talking about the program, the reason you're here listening to us and watching us today. Let's hear more from you. Let's start with introductions. Emilia?
And I'm Emilia Fagersta. I'm the program director of this one-year master program. And I'm also a lecturer in the program, teach pretty much.
Thank you.
And I'm Yasin Tumwesiji. I'm from Uganda. I did the program from last year, and this year I was fortunate enough I graduated. Glad to be with you today.
Oh, I'm really pleased to see you. I've worked quite a lot with Yasin. I couldn't help but bring our brochure and look. You've helped us a bit with our student recruitment, and it's been a delight. Let's start with talking a bit more about the program. Emilia, why do we offer this program? I mean, why did we even think that there was a need for it in the world?
I would say we have the program for teachers for all ages and others interested in education, who are interested in the outdoors, but also who want to develop their skills in teaching and maybe leaving their comfort zone, teaching outside the classroom.
Okay, so taking traditional teaching methods in a way and putting them in an outdoor context, or is it completely brand new methods?
I think we depart from a Scandinavian approach of outdoor school, which is pretty much about taking your subjects outdoors on a regular basis, but mix them with indoor teaching, outdoor teaching.
Okay.
But it also, from a sustainability perspective, we need maybe to take another viewpoint on education and have a more holistic, interdisciplinary approach and use outdoor places to a larger extent than we do. We need to connect children to places.
Especially with urbanization, I can imagine kind of connecting them with nature and understanding where things come from.
Absolutely, and it's both natural places we're talking about, but also to learn about your urban area around you, your neighborhood, and how does it work? How can we change things we want to change, and these kind of things. So it's both urban and natural places we are teaching in.
We're going to have a look at the program structure in a bit, but first I want to hear from Yasin. Why did you choose this program, and what attracted you to Sweden? It's a far away from Uganda.
Yeah, it's quite like two questions in one. Sweden as a country, first of all, it's ranked among the top education destinations in the whole world. The air is fresh, and if you Google anywhere, best education destinations, Google Sweden comes among the top. But as the program, I always felt, because I have a teaching background, I always felt that our education system back at home was a little bit limited, and it wasn't giving our learners this ability to explore. So I wanted something that could make me dig deeper into this and try to get a way of exploring all the opportunities that could be out there. So that's how I landed on outdoor. And luckily enough, it's I think it's only offered here and in the US, I don't know. But I landed on this, and it was good that it's in Sweden with its progression in sustainability and everything. I've always been passionate about the environment and stuff. So that's how I landed on the program, and I chose it as my number one option.
And what did you think of it?
Amazing.
I'm glad you say that.
Mm.
He hasn't been paid to say that, I promise.
Mm.
But I'm glad
Mm.
you felt that. Let's look at the program structure. We have a slide who I think Luke will share now. Is it on the screen? No, there it is. So this program is a one-year program. First semester, how do you start? I mean, what's the first thing you do when you start?
Yeah, what's the first thing we do? What do you say? But we do pretty soon leave lecture halls, seminar rooms, and take the students outdoors. I think it's a second day or third day after the roll call. So we really want them to go outdoors, and we try to, teach the way the subject we teach, and do a lot of learning by doing. As Yasin said, the students do a lot of experiences themselves, but also reflect upon them. So it's lectures and seminars as well, of course.
And
But
sometimes outside, lectures, seminars outside.
maybe not lectures,
Not
but
lectures, yeah.
seminars outside.
Okay.
Pretty common.
Yeah.
Walk and talks, or in some, we have some meeting places around the campus area where we can have a sit down in the forest having a seminar or walk around.
So is this part of outdoor learning in theory and practice? That's the course you start with.
We start with that course, and it's more, this course has the focus more on this outdoor school, the Scandinavian approach, mainly with the disciplinary teaching. So students try out outdoor learning in different subjects, both as kind of pupils, but also then they develop their own outdoor lessons. They have kind of foundation, theoretical foundations, but also trying it out.
Okay. What did you, thinking back, remember your first week?
I think the first thing that when you ask that question, the first thing you did, there was a thing that really amazed me, the fika. She gave us fika the first day, and then she said, "I'm Emilia." Like I finished the whole program without coming to terms with calling her Emilia. But in Sweden, it's very common. So I always felt uncomfortable if someone said, "Emilia, can you help me with this?" So the first real things we had was like coffee together. It was so heartwarming. It became like a family instantly. Like it didn't feel like a class. So I will never forget that fika.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
So it is true that the way to, someone's heart is through food and drink. That's how you buy them.
Cinnamon bun.
Yeah,
cinnamon bun. Yeah.
It was so
That's good. That's good. I'm glad. I mean, and that kind of connects you because it's very much a class kind of, a year, a cohort that stick together.
Yeah.
How many people were in your year? Do you remember?
We were 24.
Yeah, I think 26 actually.
26.
You were
26.
Yeah.
And I think by second week, she could call each one by their name, faces and name.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
I do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could. So where is? Yeah, it was so good.
So what about this? You just explained, the first, what was it? Theory, outdoor learning in theory and practice. So that course, you went outdoors, and what
we did a lot of things, a lot of touring. We went to Biakasobi. We went to there is this one. I even documented it on the Instagram page. We went and she was reading to us the history of the place, and then she gave us this task. We're just supposed to relax, lie down, and just feel the story. So we just lay down, and then she started reading us the place. It like kind of connected us. And then after we did the task, so we did lots of going outside around the campus and also moving outside. And it also helped that the university has lots of resources because we used to have cars, drive ourselves out to the places. So those who have driving licenses, valid on.
I'm glad you confirm that.
Yeah.
I think you appreciated that too.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Coming from my background, I really appreciated it because it gave us an opportunity to tour Sweden, and it was giving us a history, and not only learning how to use it, but also learning from the perspective of a child. There is a play area behind the Vala where there are the horses. So
near the university. It's an area called Vala
So
that has horses. Yeah.
there is where like babies play from, like a play area. We actually went there and did a task in there. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. It sounds like you had a lot of fun
It
and a kind of
is.
it's a hands-on experience.
It's-
The first course.
And we use, as I say, the campus area. It's an amazing campus area, actually. We have a nature reserve close by and the playground, and also going a little bit farther away.
And the Bjärkasäby that you mentioned is an old, it's
the
old.
nature reserve. So we
Is
have
Bjärkasäby a castle?
yeah, it's a
Kind of manor castle, kind of manor house. So just explaining the context, and that's where you. And I think that's a brilliant way of kind of reading the story and being there, and but closing your eyes and getting to kind of paint the pictures.
Connecting to the place.
I want to do the program now. No, but you have to be a teacher, right, to do the program.
Teacher or having an and master with in education or teaching practice or adult learning or similar. So if you don't have a bachelor in education teaching, you can still apply if you have this extra.
If you have a master's in
at least 1 year master.
Masters in, okay. So I had to do one in education
Yes,
before.
you have. But welcome.
Thank you. What about the second course? If we can have the slide back, please. There we go. So environmental and sustainability education in the natural and cultural landscape. Tell us a bit more about that.
And then we take this more holistic perspective and really dig into this. What can places offer? And as we learn from the places where we are, and from a sustainability perspective, this ecological view, but also the social economical view, and also who are the actors in this place. And
okay, so is that also outside a lot, and do you still travel, or you're more kind of campus based?
It's not that much outdoors, but we're outdoors, and here also students take more responsibility their own learning. I would say it's all the program is student centered, but in the second course they are more in charge for running workshops, seminars, and a longer field trip. So they all organize at least a 2-hour field trip, a longer excursion at the end of that course.
Okay, for each other, kind of.
Yes, so they are the kind of the pupils, students.
Where did you go?
We went to Norrköping.
Okay.
It's another city after Linköping. We organized as our group. We had been organized in groups. So each group we took hours to Norrköping. It's very beautiful. There is, I think, the water. Is it a river or?
It's a river. It's Norrköping is kind of seen as sometimes Scandinavia's Manchester, because it was a lot of textile manufacturing in the 19th century. So you still have the kind of the old buildings.
The old industrial
So you have a lot of history. There's a lot of kind of. So I can imagine it was a good place to go.
It was a good place.
And what did you think of the course as a whole, the sustainability?
So the sustainability, it was very hands-on and collaborative. At the end of it, we did an anthology. It was amazing. Like everyone wrote something, and then we put it together. It's a beautiful piece, and it was published. The mere fact that we got together to work on one thing, that was one thing that also took my breath away, because I had never been experienced to that, where everyone brings a part in. And the experience of having cities as contributors, to this ecological system, it was also new to me and a learning experience. But in all, it was so amazing. Yeah.
Because is there a lot of group work within the program? I think it tends to be a very Swedish thing. I mean, I hear that from a lot of international students, that it's, students from other countries tend to be more used to doing their own project, or you do your own essay, and it's kind of your own space. But here you do together.
I think it goes both into the outdoor and sustainability education approach. I mean, in outdoor, you cannot just go out or continue reading in your books. I mean, you maybe need to plan it more at a small group learning, problem solving, and sustainability education is also a lot about the students to take their own active role, and then of course you need to give give them a chance to do that, to plan their learning. And this anthology is a good example of it. They write it together, good examples of sustainability education that they can bring back home and use.
It's a really good exercise in teamwork, really building something together. What about the second semester? So again, we've got theories of research and methods of inquiry. I suppose that is in preparation for the thesis. Yeah.
So then it's more traditional course. It's methods and more indoor, but then also, we are in the January, and it's pretty cold. So I think the students usually think it's quite fine to be.
They don't mind. They don't mind. What did you think of the Swedish winter?
The Swedish winter, it was the trickiest part about the program. But from the first, she told us there is no bad weather, but bad clothes.
So exactly. You every child has been told that by their mother or father. So it's something that's no bad weather. Now you can continue.
And she told us that, but it was tricky for me at first, adjusting very fast. I came with one pair of shoes, but soon I realized you can die from bad shoes.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. I think that's the one thing I say when I see international students is, the first thing you buy proper soles. I think get up from the ground, because sometimes unless you're a 16-year-old student, they tend to still wear Converse, but I don't recommend that at all.
We continue also telling them,
yeah,
wear proper clothes.
Wear
you
proper
won't
clothes,
freeze.
exactly. Wear proper clothes, and by the time kids are about 25, 30, maybe they listen. But yeah, was it kind of? Did you find that you had to have a different kind of structure or approach to your studies when it kind of gets darker and a bit more?
Yeah. On health-wise, it was tricky because I was lacking on the the sun. I could feel, but then again, when it kind of gets dark, the time zone is a little bit confusing because it's dark when you wake up and it's dark when you go home. So you tend to want to sleep in more. So it takes a little bit a while to adjust to that. So it was kind of tricky.
I think I've heard that as well, and the importance of structure, of kind of still getting up and going to, even if you maybe have self-study, so you're supposed to sit at home, but instead you get up or you go to university and you're there for like 9 or whatever, and kind of, because I mean we're not gonna kind of sugarcoat things. it does get dark, and I don't, it's cold, but it's warm inside. It's always warm inside. Yes.
And we do have a lot of scheduled time, so we do have lessons at the university to drag them out of bed.
So these courses that we have, so they're 15 HP we've said, and that's ECTS, kind of European credit system. That's usually 15 is half a semester.
Yeah, it's 10 weeks.
Yeah, so 10 week. And in the autumn, when you have these 2 courses, do you have one course and then another course, or do they run kind of in parallel?
No, it's more like first course number 1 and then course number 2.
Okay.
So not in parallel.
Right. And how do you assess the courses?
In the first course, it's a kind of essay where they are to write an reflection around this. They organize an own lesson with either their peers or actually going out in Swedish schools or preschools, having an outdoor lesson with real students. So it's kind of a reflection around this lesson, both the planning, how they planned it, and the rationale behind it from theory. Why did they use that place, for example? What did they think the place would add to the learning experience? But also from learning theories, what are the arguments for going outdoors? And here we have, it's a really diverse field in that way. We have different theories of learning, supplementing outdoor teaching, but also motivation and this just being outdoor in green areas, a lot of research.
Okay.
Saying more and more the benefits of being outdoor in natural environment. So they write about that, kind of bringing theory and practice together.
And is that that's for the first course, and then the second and third, are they assessed in exams, or is it also?
Is this anthology where you both write together in a group, but also one chapter individually. And the method is an research proposal for the thesis,
I think so. Okay.
where
okay.
they just have a plan, both qualitative and quantitative.
Did you actually go into Swedish school? Did you get to visit a Swedish school?
During I
Okay.
went to Katedraskolan. It's
Okay.
a high school. It was
Yeah.
recommended by our professor, and it was a different, of course, experience. I wrote a reflection about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Was it very different
It
to?
was very, very different.
Was it?
Very different, I can tell
Really?
you. Yeah. To be like just to mention a few, the uniforms,
Of course.
No,
the uniforms,
course.
and
no
then
uniforms.
Yeah, the lack of uniforms
and then
here. Yeah.
the luxury, because I think they had their laptops and phones, and at once the teacher would just say, okay, now put away the laptops, put away the phones. That was also new to me.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, and I think maybe outdoor is a good way of getting back to kind of basics anyway, and getting away from the technology and the digital world. The final part of the program is the thesis project, so, and that's about 10 weeks as well.
Yeah.
And what are students expected to do for it? I mean, is it a written thesis? Is it a group kind of project thesis, or how does
It's
it work?
an individual work, and they need to do some data collection, having some empirical work, and we can help in some ways, but usually they also need to plan it pretty much on their own, as we don't have that many schools that can support with having them out there, and also the language is sometimes a problem. So mostly they do gather the data in their home countries, but some do it here in Sweden too. So of course they can do it.
So a lot of people travel back to their home countries to gather the data, or they do it online?
I think it's both.
It's both,
Some I mean, if you do a quantitative study, you send out questionnaires online, but some travel back and do their data collection in their home countries.
Okay. What did you do?
I used the data from back at home online, but I have a friend from the Gambia, Amadou. He used the Swedish school, and he said the reception was amazing. The kids couldn't understand him, but he said he really got a lot of data.
Did you have smaller children then?
Yeah, smaller children, below 9.
Oh, okay, so really, yeah.
So personally, I got data from home using technology.
And what did you write yours on?
So it was outdoor education in the context of Ugandan secondary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, really interesting.
Yeah, I would say it's really large diversity in topics in the thesis. So they are creative students. They find different.
And I can imagine, because everybody, because you have to have this background as a teacher, I can imagine a lot of people have work experience, and they do have some kind of network already.
Yeah, and also maybe want to do something that they can more easily apply when they come back home. So they do it in the context of their own country back home.
And do we, for the ones who don't go, I mean, for your friend who went to a school, do we have contacts?
As I said, we don't have that many contacts that we can send students to a lot of different schools, but we try our best when we know from the method course what study they want to do, and usually we can help out with Swedish contacts.
What about kind of who should apply for this program? If we're thinking about the ideal student, or who would thrive on this program, what kind of, we're talking about the academic background, which should be a bachelor in teaching, or at least 1 year at master's level in educational related. What else? I mean, what other kind of personal skills or interests or values should you have to actually succeed in the program?
I mean, first of all, I think it's good if you enjoy being in the outdoors in all weather. Can be rainy and cold. But also it's a lot of, writing, and you need to be pretty good in English and academic writing and these kind of things too. It's not only out in the forest.
It's not just. So this is, we do have the basic requirement is IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 90, and that's so that's the minimum to actually be accepted. But do bear in mind that it is a lot of writing, and you do need to you do need to be sure of yourself. And I think sometimes you think, well, I did well in the test, but make sure that the reading as well, that you maybe prepare by reading in the summer, because again, reading in a different language, it takes a while before you get the hang of it.
And the literature list is a lot of peer-reviewed academic journals too. So yeah, you need to be pretty confident in reading in English.
And do you get access to the reading list in the summer before you come here, so you can prepare? Or?
Good question. I ask you.
You get access after registering.
Yeah,
after registering.
Her room opens.
Okay.
Yeah. There is like a digital room where.
Okay.
Yeah. So once after registration and clearing all the other requirements for like international students paying tuition, and then that's when it opens, and then you can see. Yeah.
Well, from your perspective, I mean, what would you say? Who would succeed on the program? I mean, what kind of what kind of skills, or what kind of person?
Well, the first thing, I think it's interest, because it's very hands-on, and if the person is really changing continents and there is that passion lacking in there, it's easy to get discouraged, and you must be sort of flexible. Sort of flexible, because one, we are meeting lots of people. It was about 10 countries. So it's a multi-dimensional classroom. And secondly, there is a lot of sharing back and forth, teamwork, meaning you have to work with people. So you can't get so held up in your views and whatever. So you have to be open-minded, flexible, and also have the passion for the program that you're going for.
Yeah, that's also one, benefit with this intercultural context, that you learn so much from each other during the program, and so everybody add their own perspectives and
so
back and forth and discuss.
And the both are kind of a challenge, but also a massive bonus. What was the most challenging thing? Was there something that was challenging?
Personally, the most challenging was the weather. Trying to catch up, because at one point I would just see people just stepping out. They just get a sweater and then the raincoat, and they just step up. But I was struggling.
It was cold.
It was cold for me. Even up to now, I'm still, because. But the weather was the only thing. But it's manageable when you have the right clothes. Like she told us right from the beginning, there is no bad weather. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Just
wear clothes. It is interesting you say that. I think I said to him like 3 or 4 times, "Are you sure you're going to wear a jacket? It gets really warm in here." But I think I've heard that from other students as well. That I think it's it takes a while to get used to. But I think it's good to be aware of it, and the fact that it's not a disaster. No. Did you experience snow last year?
Yeah, it was my first time seeing snow in my whole life.
Did you go ice skating or skiing?
Yeah, I went to the north, the Lapland trips. I went to it was so good.
And I can imagine you get a completely different experience, and there is an ice skating rink, a public one near the university, where you can actually rent skates. At the kind of campus gym, or it's a big gym, and I think a lot of international students.
And in the city center at the big square, when it reaches around, I think December, they turn it into like an ice rink.
So you get to kind of experience being a kid again. Which sounds fun. We've talked for half an hour already, so we're going to open up for questions. Before we do that, the recorded part that we publish on the web, so if you're watching this on the web, we're going to leave you after this. So the questions part, the Q&A section, is only for those watching this live. So I'm going to do a quick kind of goodbye and a kind of conclusion just for those of you watching this video. Way of getting in touch with us is have a look at our Instagram page. You were there as well. So it's run by students, and they have a week each. So that's the best way of getting a really good idea, I think, of what life is like here. Same thing with our blog. So our Instagram is Linköping University. We also have an international program students at LIU. I know, the worst name we could have picked, blog. Again, our students, did you write in the blog? You did, didn't you? Mhm. So again, you can get a really good idea of the experience from coming here, things that you need to remember and bear in mind. Facebook, you can connect with us, but the easiest way and best way is actually to hit reply to an email that you've already received from us, or you go to the program page and you go to contact us, and you will get an answer really quickly that way. So to those of you watching the recording, thank you and goodbye. And we're back to those of you who are here for the question section. Luke, who is with us, will ask the questions. Have we got any questions, Luke?
We do, yes, indeed. Welcome, everybody. And we will straight go into the questions, as we received several already, and I see a lot of people from different countries have joined, so great to see. All right, let's start off. Betty has a question. Is it possible to study the outdoor education master class as a second master after a Master of Science?
At least 60 credits in education, teaching, adult learning or similar.
So it really depends what you did. So either your bachelor was correct, part of your bachelor could 60
Yes,
credits.
you can also have, if you have a bachelor, we do have some, also enrolled students that, for example, have a bachelor in psychology or sociology, but they need to have at least 90 credits in education. Pedagogy. So it needs to be half of their bachelor.
So that's again, you need to look at the specific requirements. You need to look at what courses you've had,
and so because it is for, for teachers and educators.
I think you create the courses on this with the assumption that people already know the basics of teaching and education. So it is a continuation on something else. I hope that answered the question.
I hope so too. Otherwise, let us know. Marina did have a question about the English requirement. It says that you need an English 6, but would it be enough to present the papers for a bilingual degree program that she did in Spain?
It depends. The English, if you did, you basically have to have done your bachelor entirely in English, and it needs to say on your transcript that the program was fully taught in English. That's one way of getting an exemption. So have a look at what it says on your transcript. You can go to university admissions, and they have country-specific information. You just search for it. So country-specific information. Have a look at what it says under Spain. It will give you some ideas. I don't know Spain exactly. I know, for example, for Germany, if you have done English at a certain level, equivalent of high school, you would be exempt from taking a test. So again, have a look at your country-specific information. That's where you'll find those kind of things relating to that. But I think you have to either have studied, if you studied in the UK or the US, for example, you will have done your degree in English. But in other countries, it needs to have been taught fully in English.
Yeah, and so UK, US, and then from Africa and Asia, those who know what Commonwealth is, it automatically qualifies.
So the Commonwealth as
Commonwealth,
well. Yeah. So again, country-specific information. That's where it'll say. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. David is asking, well, he's from the UK. He doesn't have a bachelor in education, however, completed a PGCE in secondary science with 90 master credits and has a qualified teaching status. Is that sufficient to apply?
Can you repeat? Is it what is it?
A PGCE, so the postgraduate
90 masters credits.
Yeah, so it's equivalent of 90 credits masters. But
in what?
What was it? It was
secondary science.
Secondary science.
So it's kind of teaching.
It's teaching. It's basically
diploma.
What you do. If you do a bachelor in like English in England, and then you do a PGCE as afterwards, you can then teach. So it's basically doing, I think, the education part, but you do that
But it
afterwards.
seems like that would be fair enough then, if it's 90 credits in teaching
Yeah,
science education or science teaching or
yeah.
was
I
it?
think
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
basically
Yeah,
is
it
what
should
it
be. Should
qualifies
work.
you to be a teacher in England.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we think so. But having, obviously we have to have a look at it. But it's worth sending us a message. Program page, contact us. You can always send us a message, and we can look into it a bit further.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Interesting question from Anke is asking, what are the career opportunities for this program? Do you want to emphasize that a bit?
And I hope we prepare the students for both, future research, but also professional development in their schools, or having this position, maybe develop outdoor sustainability teaching. So it can be more, these areas. You can also pursue a PhD,
Okay.
although it's pretty hard to do it at Linköping University.
Yeah,
It's not so
PhDs,
easy,
exactly.
but I know that not a few previous students have, apply and got their PhD positions all over the world.
Yeah. In Sweden, if you do a PhD, you have a paid position, so you actually apply for a job. So that's why it's really competitive and quite difficult to get. Do most students end up going back to being teachers, but with this added knowledge, or do they end up doing something different?
Good question too. We have recently started a LinkedIn alumni network, because otherwise usually they kind of go back home and we don't really know where they end up. But now we will have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of students from different cohorts.
Okay.
But I think it's variety. And sometimes they write back and actually thanks for the program, because they have a position somewhere that they wouldn't have without it. And so I think it's quite different what they do.
Well, they do. Do you have any experience of what have the others done?
There is Manuel, one of Hafen's students. He's practicing in Gothenburg because of the qualifications of this program. I think Gothenburg is in the west.
West coast of Sweden.
The third biggest city. There is also a girl from Germany. She's also practicing in Malmo. Yeah. And all because of that qualification. But apart from that, most people went back home and continued in their respective, but now integrating the knowledge that was gotten from the program.
Okay.
And I know some students, they actually got work as preschool teachers in Sweden. But they also need then, of course, to practice their Swedish, but they have got jobs. And preschools are outdoors a lot in Swedish.
Oh yes,
Swedish context.
I remember that, and they sleep outside a lot, and they do everything outside. So thank you. Do we have another question?
Yes, we do. Thank you. Pau has a question. Since the program is 60 ECT, will it be enough for a master's degree?
How does that work?
Yeah, we call it a 1-year master, and as I said, a lot of students apply for PhD positions and got them with this program. So it seems like it works.
It works
in other universities.
So it's a 1-year master. I think in Sweden we have slightly different ways of kind of telling it apart, but I think in English it's just a master's program. But I think in other countries master's programs are a year as well. For example, the UK. So yeah. It seems right?
Good. That's good enough. Thank you. Maria's asking, how many places are available?
I don't think we have a limit so far, but usually around 20 to 26. I think you were the largest cohort. This year is 22.
22. I think that's quite nice, because then you have a proper kind of a closed group where everybody actually can get to know each other.
It's very convenient.
Size. So I think it's ideal, kind of. So 20 to 25. Luke?
Okay, thank you. Yes, I was just checking up. There are a couple of people that have similar, in the sense, backgrounds. They don't have a degree in education, however, do have teaching experience and a bachelor in another program. Can they apply, or is it maybe personal status to see if they are eligible.
So it's not enough to have a bachelor in, say, psychology and then having been a teacher for 5 years.
No,
No.
Just teaching practice is not.
It's not enough.
No, you need to have at least this
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah.
Studies.
So you could do a 1-year master's distance in, say, education, a minimum 2-year master's, but minimum 1 year. And that would be enough because that would get you the 60 credits that you need.
Yeah.
So just the experience, unfortunately, is not enough.
Okay.
Because our selection process, I mean, for all our programs, the selection process is based on academic merits. So that's why we look at what you've done academically. So there's no letter of intent. There's no CVs, letter of recommendations. We don't need any of that. It is simply your transcript and your diploma that we look at.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that helped the students in question. Question from Betty. Can I study the master program as an Erasmus? How would that work?
Exchange. So do you take anybody?
I mean, depends. I mean, if you have your bachelor.
Yeah, so if you're doing your bachelor,
I suppose you can be an Erasmus, but if you're an Erasmus student during your studies, it's not possible because you need your.
Yeah, you need to kind of have enough. You need to have a degree already.
Yes, you have.
So you can't do it as the third year of your.
No.
But if you have a 4-year program and you have done 3 years, could the 4th year be done as an Erasmus?
I mean, you can apply, but I don't think. I mean, it's not.
No.
You quit the Erasmus and apply for the program.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's that kind of.
So is that, do you have any exchanges within the program? I mean, it's only.
Yeah, as it's only 1 year, it's not really that time to go away during the program. But we have a lot of. I mean, Leo have these offers of Erasmus internships, and also you can do it before you apply for your diploma. You can do some teaching. I think we have in India and Kenya. You can go kind of
short exchange.
Yes, and also you can organize it yourself. And also student that.
And do you get credits? Or is
no,
it
I don't think. I don't know. I don't think it's to get credits, but you can kind of include it in your diploma.
Okay. So basically, no, it's not an Erasmus program as such where you can attend as part of. We don't have that agreement with anywhere else, but you can maybe do some Erasmus exchange within the program. But again, you'd need to have a word with Emilia when you get here. Yeah. Have we got any other questions?
Yeah, there are still a couple left. Yes, indeed. So yeah, question. I think you mentioned it, but just to highlight, question about scholarships for the program. Can you say something about that, or should we direct them to a website?
Yeah, I mean, do have a look at the LIU scholarships website, but it's we have LIU international scholarships. They are tuition fee waivers, pretty much. I mean, they don't cover cost of living expenses, and they're usually between 25% of the tuition fee. The tuition fee, I think, for this program is something like 8,000 euros. I think 85,000. I said 95,000. It's 110,000 kronas, which is about 10,000 euros. So it's for 1 year. So if you get an LIU scholarship, it will be either 25, 50 or 75-ish thousand kronas. Sometimes do you know if you've awarded many of those scholarships on the program?
I think usually 1 or 2 students are awarded those scholarships.
Yeah. So it's worth, but to be able to apply for those, you have to have applied for this program on time, which means by I think it's 16th of January next year. So that's when you do the online application. You then have to submit all the documentation. So any language tests, for example, and your transcript, anything like that, by the 1st of February. You also have to have ranked this program as your first choice. So you can do 4 choices and you rank them. And if you're accepted to, and this ranking is really important, because if you're accepted to your 3rd choice, for example, 1 and 2 will be deleted. So it's kind of you have to really think about what do I want, but also if you want a scholarship. So it's not like you'll get 4 offers and you can choose one of them, and you know you'll get one offer. But there's another really good scholarship, and that's only available to certain countries, and that's the Swedish Institute SI scholarship. So I think it's SI for global professionals. I think that's a really good scholarship. That's for the whole tuition fee and cost of living, and I think you apply for that. February. It's in February. So February, you actually apply for that before you find out if you've been admitted or not. Whereas the LIU scholarship, you cannot apply for until you've been admitted, and there's a window of a few days there. Yeah. Don't miss anything. No. Yeah. I hope that answers that question.
I hope so too. Otherwise, let us know. We do have some more questions. First of all, Maria, are there any accommodation facilities on campus?
Yes. Where do you stay?
I stay in Reed. It's 5 minutes away from the university, but the whole campus is surrounded by accommodation inside Flamman, Reed.
Yeah. Are you in a corridor room?
Yeah, I'm in a corridor room with 8 amazing students.
So we do. I mean, a lot of our students stay in corridor rooms. We used to guarantee accommodation for fee-paying students. We don't anymore. So you do need to sign up for housing soon. It's Studentbostäder or Heimstaden. And Heimstaden, you can actually apply for accommodation before the summer. So they kind of accept early applications, whereas Studentbostäder is only in the summer, once, I think, in July. But most students live in these corridors with 8 bedrooms, own bathroom, and then you have a shared kitchen and living room.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have a lot of fun, don't they?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you make
you
new
get
friends.
your privacy, but get the fun of being together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think the student accommodation, you have like 3 floors, and you kind of have, one corridor, one corridor, one corridor. So there's quite a lot of interaction. Yeah, yes, a lot of parties. Yes, so I've heard. But it's also takes you 5 minutes to cycle to campus.
So it's the way I stay. It's 5 minutes, but there is like accommodation right here at I think at the extreme western end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
well, you got a very nice burger restaurant as well.
Yeah. And where I stay, there is a place, Reed Centrum. It has literally everything. There is a shopping center, there is a gym, there is a dentist, there is a florist, there is a coffee shop, like in one building.
Yeah, well, it's good. You have the coffee shop and the supermarket, and then you go to the dentist, and then you treat yourself to flowers. But yes, I think most students stay there. There's a few other areas near campus, but it's it can be difficult to find accommodation. So I think for us, the advice we give everybody is get in the queue. Studentbostäder especially use queue points, and you get 1 point per day that you have been in the queue, and it doesn't cost anything to sign up. So you sign up if you're even thinking about coming here, and the sooner you do it, the better, because the more points you will have when they release their vacancies.
And the student blog also talks about so if you're finding difficulty, you can head over there. Yeah,
so check out the student blog and the Instagram for pictures, and they share a lot of kind of life in a corridor room. We've got a podcast as well.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention that. We've got a podcast as well. Fika with us, it's called. But that also mentions, of course, exactly. So yeah, have a look at the kind of LIU accommodation on our website. Just search for accommodation and you'll find. But I hope that answered that question.
I hope so too. We're getting down to the last questions. Still have some minutes left. Shadrach and some other people also still were wondering a bit about the 180 ECTs as a requirement. He's asking about that. So in this specific case, he has a Bachelor of Education in mathematics and a Diploma of Education and a start for 13 years. Does he qualify?
I think it's difficult to assess, somebody just kind of based on I have this, but I think all we can really say is 180 ECTS is 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it goes for all our
Yeah.
masters. So
Other
I
masters.
don't really know exactly why. I mean,
That's a bachelor.
yeah, it's a bachelor. Yes,
so we
of
follow
course.
the Bologna
Yeah,
system. So
yeah.
you do the bachelor and you do a
Mm.
master's and the PhD, and then you got the kind of
Yeah.
the pyramid.
Mm.
And the first stage of that is the bachelor, and that's a minimum of 3 years. So that's where the 180 credits come from, because 1 year is 60 credits, as you can see from the 1 year masters is 60 credits. So if you did, and if you've done a degree, even if it doesn't say teaching or education, it could say psychology, but you then have to have 90 credits.
Yes.
So that means you have to have half of the program needs to be connected with education
in
or
some way. And I mean, some
pedagogy.
cases we do discuss the call it admission,
Mhm.
the people at the admission office, and
Yeah.
I mean, we have a discussion if it's not so explicit what points and so on. So
Mhm.
so it's always worth to
It's worth
apply
having
and
a look. Yeah,
but still we cannot really.
no.
We need to follow the
Yeah.
what's the requirements.
It's
of course.
really important when you do apply to submit a transcript, a syllabus rather, not transcript, syllabus, because
So we know the
exactly.
courses
Then
and,
you know, because sometimes they might say in the transcript, or you might say, I don't know. Oh, I can't think now, but sustainability, and but really, it was kind of sustainability education. So it's, I think it's
always good.
Yeah, syllabus is important.
Okay, thank you. So we have a couple more questions. I think especially we want to take the Raiwin, if I say that right, and Michael, because they have similar questions in terms of the process to apply and for their residence permits to make sure they have enough time. So especially with visa and looking for a house. When should they apply and when can they expect the selection results?
They should apply by the deadline. Definitely. Yeah, exactly. So what did I say? 16th next year. It's always on a Monday. Yeah, so that's why the date changes sometimes. 16th of January. But the sooner the better. I mean, if you apply now, the admissions unit have time to. They won't give you an answer or a result, but if there is something missing, they might have time to tell you, actually, no, you should upload this as well. So you don't miss out. I think so. You apply on time, all the documentation by the 1st of February. It is important if you're an EU student that you do upload a copy of your passport, because I think that's one of the most common mistakes made, because everybody thinks, they're not eligible to pay fees, so it's free for them, and they think, we're European. But if you don't prove that you are European, you will be classed as fee paying, and then when we don't get the application fee, you will be, crossed off the applications, really. So you do that, and then the results next year, I don't have the exact date, but it's last week of March. So that's when you get the results, and then a few days to apply for a LIU scholarship. And then if you're a fee-paying student, you do need to pay the first installment of the tuition fee by the 1st of June. I think the first installment is half semesters. So it's about 30,000 kronas, just under. So basically that's how you do it. So you can't start applying for a residence permit, which you need if you're from the outside the EU, until you've paid your tuition fee. And I also think you cannot apply for a residence permit before 4 months before you're due to start. So it's roughly the same kind of, end of May really is when you pay your tuition fee installment, and then you can apply. But accommodation, you should register now. If you're thinking about applying, register now. I think I did the process right. You've done it.
But most importantly, all the information is always there on the websites, the LIU and then Migrationsverket. It's very important, because once you make a mistake in any, it means the application will be put on the side, and then they will work on it later, meaning you're taking more time. So it's very important that you pay attention to the details that are put on the websites.
And did you have to go to the embassy or consulate for an interview?
Yes, they have to see that you are you.
Yeah.
To prove But the most important was valid documents, especially the passport and the transcripts. So if you make sure that all those documents are uploaded and they are valid, yeah, then you have no problem. But paying extra attention so that you don't miss out because it.
And make sure you have a look at the country-specific requirements
Yeah.
again, because if you studied in the US, for example, the diploma and the transcripts have to be sent directly by the university to university admissions. You can't upload those yourselves. So again, it's those little things that you do need to keep an eye on. Have a look at the blog. I mean, see, because there's lots of our students have written lots of tips. But it's keeping an eye on these dates really, and making sure you have everything in order.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sure, that is helpful. We have a follow-up question from Pau. He schedules an IELTS test date for the end of December, beginning of January. Can they upload the English certificate after January 16th?
Yeah, by the 1st of February. 1st of February is the deadline for the English. They can still upload it early February, but they will be seen as a late applicant. And sometimes, I don't know if you open for late applicants ever.
I think we are actually.
Yeah, you can still then apply, but you'll be considered. So, but basically, when the admissions unit assess the applicants, they start with all the ones who have submitted everything on time. So 16th of January, 1st of February, kind of those dates are connected. But if you then submit something after that, you'll be considered a late applicant. So you'll still be assessed if there is space, places left. The one thing you then won't be able to apply for is a scholarship, because you're a late applicant. But it's, don't think that if you get it on the 10th of February, don't think, oh God, no point because I'm late now. Still upload it.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Okay. I will send actually the link to the application process through the chat, so everybody can see that process and get more information as well. There you find admissions for master's degree, also for others, and find more information about the step-by-step guide, basically. So hopefully that's useful. We're getting down to the last questions or question. Let's see. We'd like to take the one from Anke. She's saying the program is focused on pupils and young persons. Can it, or how can it be transferred to adult education?
It can. I mean, maybe also you can answer that question, but we try to be open from the preschool to adult learning, but of course, in reality, and there's maybe some focus on the primary school years, although we have examples from different ages, and also, I mean, the literature list covers other ages. So, and also previous students, not all come from, I mean, formal school education. They can work in NGOs or kind of out of school activities, or with more adult learning. Although it's not the main focus.
It's not the main focus. Yeah. What did you think? Could you apply it?
Yeah. Well, like with the culture, of course, that's better from the ground with the kids, but the applicability, because our class diversity was wide.
Yeah,
we had from high school, we had actually
and some from out of school
yeah,
too.
out of school. She was from, I think, counseling. Counseling. So it was quite diverse in coverage. So yeah, the applicability is wide. Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, those were the questions we've received so far. So I think pretty much all of them have been answered. Just to mention that if your question was not answered, maybe it was very specific to you. So the questions are forwarded to the university. They can still come back to you. And yeah, do still fill out the polling question, please. If you haven't done so, we would like to receive all of your feedback. And I'm already opening up the last polling question in a second. But so far, those were the questions we've received. And I think we can round off the session. Right on.
Yeah, I think we're done exactly. You've done well fitting it in exactly. I'd like one last word from Yasin. What one piece of advice? I mean, what do you wish you had known, or what do you wish you could go back and tell yourself when you were at this stage?
Right now, if
Mm.
I wish I had known Sweden earlier, I would have come earlier than that.
That's nice.
Yeah. I wish I'd applied earlier. But in everything, I'm so privileged that I got the opportunity. It's a lifetime opportunity that I would wish for each and everyone out there. It's something that has really changed me, my exposure, my everything. I'll never be the same.
Oh.
And it was great to have you here.
Yeah, I've heard feedback. I remember, another of my colleagues took photos of one of your first outdoor sessions, and they remembered you and your smile and your kind of enthusiasm.
Yeah,
So,
it was so
brilliant.
exciting.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, I think that's all from us, really. Don't forget Instagram, blog, Facebook, the pod. Yeah, have a look and kind of see what our students have said, what Yasin has said. Yeah. check out our brochure. Have a look online. Make sure that you understand kind of what you're applying for. Have a look at the specific requirements, check the program page, and if you have questions, either just hit reply to something you've already received from us, or do the contact us on the program page. It is the quickest and easiest way of getting in touch with us. Or ask a question in the question box on this webinar. But I think that's it. Thank you for today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Great. Hi, and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today, we're going to learn more about our program in outdoor and sustainability education. And